Welcome to the Exposed Truth Podcast with Jared Bidney. In today's episode, we're going to go over programming questions, equipment questions, and some more jump questions. And as far as the jumping stuff, a lot of it still comes out. I still get about 2 to 3 emails per week wanting the jump book. I took it off the website. Hey, Jared, the link's not working. And with high demand, I email them back and say, hey, if you'd like for me to put you on a waiting list, and the always answer is, please do. So I think at the end of September, I will come out with another batch. And when I come out with that batch, just like the first batch, I will probably, now that, depending on how much popular the book gets and how much popular these jump questions get, may just come out with it 2 spurts of the year. And the thing I would like to change with the jump book is to try to get these schools and high school coaches away from doing power cleans. The vertical jump, the dumbbell jumps, with increasing our vertical, not only are we jumping higher with load, once we go down with the weight and we try to reverse that action, we elicit a powerful muscle contraction. That powerful muscle contractions help us sharpen our nervous system. So like we're going over and we're squatting. And so squatting is just basically giving you a knife. That's your foundation, that's your knife. And by the time we go over and we start our dumbbell jumps, that is making that knife sharper, so we just cut through whatever we want. And so just by jumping and squatting, we can get faster at a 40 with little to zero running. So what I'm trying to say is, if you choose the proper load for your dumbbells and you work on jumping with that load, you know, back in the day, if you've ever been coached or taught how to power clean, it's like jumping with a bar in your hand. Well, it's got to be much more controlled. You got to catch it at your neck. You got to squat if you can do it clean. Or whatever. So catching it, timing, and technical issues of the power clean are a lot different. I see a lot of high school, college athletes that when they do a power clean, they don't even get full hip extensions. So the power clean is doing little to zero transfer to the vertical jump. And if the vertical jump's not going up, the 40-yard dash is not going to get better. So you can see some people that will power clean 200 pounds, they go to 250. There's little to zero change in their 40-yard dash times or their vertical jump performance. Even if they go from 250 to 300, they're getting better at the clean. They're still not getting full hip extension. They're not leaving the ground with their feet. So jumping with the dumbbells is much more dynamic and much more explosive and transfers the sport much better than the power clean. And it's easier to program. It's easier to teach the kids how to jump. So if you see someone or just whatever, and if you listen to these podcasts and you see someone dumbbell jumping, tag me or whatever so that we can. I've seen somebody on Instagram doing dumbbell jumps, and I don't know who they heard it from because they don't follow me. So, once this stuff spreads out so far, we need to kind of try to hone it in just to make sure that who knows if they're doing the right load or however it's done or whatnot. But the whole thing is if we can get these dumbbell jumps moving in schools, and we get them to take over at the collegiate level, there's college coaches and professional NFL coaches now that don't even have power cleaning in their programming. It's difficult to teach. It could be more harmful to the wrist, and you hear people getting their back hurt with them. So jumping with the right load elicits a powerful muscle contraction that helps sharpen and tone our nervous system for greater force development. And just like when you're running your 40, it's all about force and ground. And someone at school, who's a high school athlete, was telling me the other day, the coaches at school, sprinting's not built in the weight room. BS, it's all about those squat ratios. If you go back and listen to some of those episodes on squat ratios, hey Jared, I gained, my squat went up. They were getting stronger, and it was complaining because they weren't much better at the 40-yard dash and was kind of depressed. I don't understand, Jared. I got stronger, and my 40-yard dash didn't get any better. It just don't make any sense. How come this person did this? And the next day came back, and Jared, do you think it's because I gained weight? Well, let's check your ratio. Well, his strength went up, yes, but his body weight up, so we did not separate that time at his ratio because he's trying to gain weight. And so that added weight gain could be hindrance of strength gains. Years ago, I had a kid squat 600, and when he squatted 661, we didn't get very much stronger as his body weight went up and as he was working in the weight room inconsistently. As his body weight went up, his relative strength still coupled along with that path. So I forgot what the numbers, I could have broken them down for you, but I didn't even have all that set up here for that. But again, that jump book's gonna come out later on. Let's try to change the world, get these freaking power cleans out of schools, especially if you're an athlete. My girls jump better with weights. I think I saw Michael Fahey. He's working with some volleyball girls. Michael Fahey, Westside Film, Westside versus the World, Burn the Ladders, if you want to follow his stuff. His volleyball girls are jumping out of the world. Michael, thanks for buying the book. But you know, he gave me some compliments. It's really helped him logicalize some thought processes that he's had and just kind of staple down some things like that. So with that being said, we need to try to get, again, I keep repeating the power cleans, but jumping with weights transfers better to sport than the power cleans. So these dumbbell jumps are going to be much more athletic appropriate than the power clean. And all these people say, hey, use your hips, use your hips. Well, if you look at them power cleaning at school, like I said, they don't get full hip extension. How are they using their hips? These coaches have been so brainwashed as to power cleaning over and over. Hey, you need to do power cleans. You know what? I see a lot of problems. The biggest thing with power cleans I see, especially in the high school system, is the power clean itself is a rate of force development exercise. For the conjugate people, that's your speed day, your rate of force development exercise. What is your rate of force development exercise? What's your speed day? So there's not a speed day specifically at explosive mechanics. We do our speed day and our brief maximal tension in the same day. We don't separate the days out because we are younger, we can recover quicker, and so the more workouts we get under our belt per month, the stronger and better we'll be. So if you're squatting 3 days a week and you got someone squatting twice a week, at the end of 1 month, you got 12 workouts versus 8. So the next month you got 24 versus 16. That's an 8 workout separation, you know? And so you're almost a month ahead of the other person that's only squatting twice a week. Now think about this. Once you work on your rate of force development exercise, so if you're doing speed squats and you're doing brief maximal tension on your squat, or if you're doing maximum effort and speed squats, you don't get stronger from your rate of force development exercises. All the rate of force development exercises help tone and sharpen the nervous system to move quicker. And so the bar velocity, once the bar velocity gets too high, or this rate of force development exercise, the speed moves too quick, it does not create enough muscular tension in order to produce any type of strength gains. So if you can read the Russia text, or if you read the book Super Training, you're learning about different levels of muscular tension and what those different levels of muscular tension can do. That's why the Super Training mentions strength speed and speed strength. Speed strength is like a Westside barbell squat speed day, versus strength speed is like my 0.6 meters per second on our squat or our brief maximal tension. And so by using the power cleans, if you're using the power cleans and that strength speed, which means the weight's heavier, and you're trying to get stronger with the power cleans, remember the bar's moving way too fast in order to create enough tension to create strength, is that you're doing, if you were to lighten load and have a lighter power clean, 40% of power clean max, then once you, like say, for instance, if you're doing a hang clean, you dip down and you pull back up. If the weight is properly loaded right there with that power clean weight, it will elicit a powerful muscle contraction and help transfer your sport. But these high school coaches, they are limited to time in their weight room. They are not educated on strength conditioning. Most high school and most collegiate programs, hey, they're doing this at Alabama. Hey, they're doing this at Georgia. Hey, they're doing this at Auburn. A lot of these high school people, coaches, went to college to be a teacher, whether it's health and fit, whether they went to be a history teacher or whether they majored in some type of whatever, maybe literature, math. They're going to school. They have to, in high school, you have to be a certified teacher. So they're not taking the realm or the strength or the path of strength conditioning. They're taking all this stuff to go be a teacher so that they can go to high school and coach. Or they may be even doing that in college at the collegiate level. So in other words, they don't have an understanding of human performance. They don't have a degree in exercise science like I do. They don't have an understanding of all this stuff. All they have an understanding is, hey, look what this Alabama team's doing. Look what University of Georgia's doing. Hey, let's see what Memphis is doing. Let's see what these, and they're going, hey, they're doing this program. Well, we'll bring that program back to our school and we work on it. Well, if you drive a Porsche, you can't bring those blueprints back and work on your Priuses. It just don't work that way. And so these high school coaches are so overwhelmed with, hey, they're doing this here. You got to take care of what you got here, and hopefully that you can develop the guys to where they can get to there. And so with the high school coaches not understanding what they're doing is that they're using a repeated effort method on a rate of force development exercise, which means the sets and reps are not matching the rate of force development exercise. Like when we do our dumbbell jumps, it's one, boom, done, rest a minute, another jump, done, rest a minute. And so we're working on a rate of force development. Like these people want to do these box ups. Hey, let's do box ups, jump off and on, off and on, off and on the box. Well, what happens when you're doing that? You're conditioning. You're not giving maximum effort, maximum intensity for each box jump, because if you got to get 8 or 10, you're trying to pace yourself and get to 8 or 10. You're not maximizing each jump height every time if you're doing 8 box jumps in a row. So same thing with power cleans. A lot of times they're doing 3 sets of 6, 3 sets of 8. That's a repeated effort method scheme applied to a rate of force development exercise. Now, if you look at this and if you wanted to chart like a Tendo thing or some type of bar velocity measuring device, and if you wanted to chart how they're done, if you do 3 sets of 8 and you circle your average bar speed, or versus you do 8 sets of 3, still 24 total reps. If you do that, you're going to have a higher bar speed output with the 8 times 3 versus the 3 times 8. So if you're doing 8 reps in a row, your average bar velocity is going to be lower than if it were to do 8 sets of 3, still 24 reps. But being that you have to take time and do 8 sets, it's going to take longer than doing 3 sets. Although it's the same thing, but you're able to give greater power output every time you pull on the bar or whatever you're doing if you just wanted to kind of measure those things. And the thing is, these high school are limited to 45 minutes to an hour. They got to get in and get out. So if they didn't have a copycat idea and try to copy a program, and they saw that, hey, they're doing 8 sets of 3, well, we don't have time, we do 3 sets of 8. You see where I'm saying? They're getting, oh, we don't have time, so let's just flip set and reps. No, there's a lot of ways you can do that a lot differently. So anyway, let's just get off that ramp. And so I got to get on to these questions. I'm trying to do these podcasts. Hopefully on Tuesdays, I got a busy week. I am in my summer hours, and I'm actually looking at my watch here. I didn't think I ran on about the dumbbell jumps, power cleans that long. But anyway, let's get on some of these questions. Hey, Jared, I was in threaded emails, and this could have been easily lost. I received the book and read it a few times already. I listened to your last 2 recent podcasts, and it already answered most of my questions. My main question is about the reps you use. Like in your last podcast, when you went through some of the reps and sets with main lifts and accessory lifts, I have to listen to them again and write down the examples you speak about. But how do you do template? What sets and reps you use, and how do you progress them? Another question is, do you use bands or chains? And when do I look to incorporate them? Ryan, I use chains on my bench press only. I may use bands for rack pulling and things like that, but we don't really use bands or chains on our squats. Not a bad idea. When you got 30 people in the gym at one time, with some kids need 2 chains per side, one kid need 1 chain per side. Chains get all over my gym, and so I don't like all the mess. If I had to train like 5 or 6 people at a time, I may change it up a little bit more often, but usually I'll stick with the same thing. So if I was going to come squat you 3 days a week, 12 times, we're going to do the same squat 12 times that month. The next month we may do 12 squats, but they're all going to be, if you got safety squat bar, the next month it's all going to be 12 workouts in a row with safety squat bar. The next month may be a straight bar, 12 workouts in a row. The next month may be a straight bar with 1 chain on each side for 12 workouts in a row. The next month may be repeat the same reps set scheme and do 2 chains on each side per side for that entire month, and just kind of repeat that process. Now, some of these people are asking, Jared, what if the athlete only comes twice a week? Well, if they're coming twice a week, and they're going to just boom, they're going to follow suit. So, like if you were to have to, I'm trying to think of an example. If you were to have that same workout load for 3 days in a row, but you only come twice a week, that third one's carried over to the next week. And that's where I would say, like when you're doing 3 workouts per week, you're chunking out those 3, because everything comes in clusters of 3. You're chunking out these 3, these 3, these 3, and these 3, and moving on. But if you only got someone that's only training or squatting twice a week, they're getting 2, 1, 1, 2, as to where that pattern's out. So they're not checking off and marking out those workouts on down the line as you go with that. So that's how that 2-day-a-week person can get behind. And yeah, where I got on the rant as far as being that speed squats, that's why we don't do them. We do our jumps, we squat, we work on our jumps, and we're doing that same thing. Jumping's our speed squatting. We don't have a split of speed day, max effort day. Athletes are too young and they get away a lot better with it. So what I'm saying is if you're just doing a brief maximum tension or a maximum effort squat once a week, and you're doing speed squats the second part of the week, you're only really squatting once a week. Because the speed squat, remember, the bar moves too fast to create enough tension to create strength. So you're only squatting once a week, and people wonder, well, what do y'all do so differently? Well, we squat 3 days a week, or 2 days a week, depending on how fast the kid or how much kid comes. I had a kid this past year, he went from squatting 300 pounds last year to squatting 600 pounds this year. And we was talking about that today. I need to post that on Instagram. And I don't like how they changed the reels and bullshit up. Now I can't put music behind what I want to, and I gotta just play all this generic BS. So that frustrates me. I've been having to do this for 2 or 3 weeks, and frankly, I just don't care to always keep up with the posting and things like that. But Ryan, as far as how we do and progress, our accessory work is our repetition method. Our main lifts are our brief maximum tension method. Our accessory lifts are our repeated effort method. And our jumping is our rate of force development exercise. If we have to do a rate of force development exercise, we may do some type of ball throwing or some type of body ballistic throwing. But that's very rarely done for that body, because the biggest thing for that body is just to get strong with it. And guys, please just don't, you gotta take these notes, don't max effort, speed squat, or max effort bench, speed bench. You need more workouts under your belt to create that tension. We're gonna do brief maximum tension on our squat and our bench 3 days a week. That's how we get so strong. I just had a high school sophomore bench 325. I had a freshman bench 315, and I had this guy just graduated high school in 1 year. He went from running a 5'6" 40-yard dash to a 4'9" 40-yard dash, 240 pounds, went from a 300 squat to a 4, went to a 600-pound squat. So, Ryan, I'll try to get back to some of these questions. For our tricep press downs, I got on a kid the other day. He was doing too light of a load on his press downs, and I said, let's just max. Max on press downs, yeah, you come down your chest, stop it, pause, press it down. And he was lifting with about 50% of his max potential. That's why. So for your accessory exercises, if you want to know how to get stronger at those, max, then at minimum 70%. If I do my press downs and I try to do brief maximum tension on my tricep press downs on my triceps, my elbows get inflamed. Like right now I'm battling my left elbow because my tricep press downs has been so heavy. And I'm following between 5 and 3 reps with that. The other day I did 150 for a set of 3 of my press downs. Then the other day I did 135, 4 sets of 5 with my press downs, and it is eating my left elbow up. And for those of you know, and if you listen to the podcast for a while, I've already blown off my right tricep. My right elbow, after the repair it, that hurts. Don't even hurt at all. It hurts a lot less than what my left elbow is. So I don't know if I should blow it off and get complete bionic elbows. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is our accessories are more of 6 to 8 to 10 rep range, pushing it to where if we need to be at 90 pounds on press downs, we're doing 90 pounds for 3 sets. We're not going 70, 80, 90 and working up to only one working heavy set. So we need to start, if you're starting at 75%, that's the minimum. If you do anything less than that, that's a warm-up set before you start getting to your working sets. And so, Ryan, I'm sorry, I'm kind of trying to get through this. But anyway, if I didn't answer it or you need some more questions, email me again and we'll just kind of go over it. You know, some of these podcasts can repeat themselves because we get new people all the time and these questions, and they don't go back and listen to a lot of the old ones, so we're kind of getting, it don't matter if we get the same thing over and over again. So, hello Jared, just completed my first wave of the dumbbell jumps, up 2.5 inches, over the moon with progress. Thanks again. We need the podcast back, I know. I have a few questions if you have time to answer them. How big part does arm swing play in jumping? I saw the video of Colton jumping a 44-inch vertical, and he doesn't even swing his arms as others do. Research seems to suggest 10 to 15% of jump height comes from arms. Ricky, I've even heard 20%. I don't know how this research and stuff is done. We jump on the mat all the time, and people BS, hey, you cheated, you bent your legs. Whatever. You're jealous because you can't jump over a sheet of paper. The thing is, as I trained this quarterback, he was coming Division I quarterback, coming down to me 3 days a week. He was squatting 3 days a week. We didn't advance or anything. We just focused on squatting, jumping, and running. We went from a 5 flat to a 4.7 40-yard dash. He went from a 32-inch vertical to a 39-inch vertical. He left me because he had to go out to he transferred and was now out. He's now out in Texas at a university out there. And guess what? They go test him. He texts me all the time, updates me on the progress. He first started, he was only moving 285 at 0.6 meters per second on squat. And we got him to where he was able to squat 405 sets of 3 and sets of 4. And he's never had anything above 365 pounds on his back. Now I have him squatting, box squatting. Let's repeat this, box squatting, 400 plus for sets of 3 and sets of 4. He gets there, sends me a text, hey Jerry, we just tested our vertical on the Vertec, which is jump up, hit slats. His highest vertical at the gym was a 39.2, and on the slats at the university where they tested him, he jumped to 39.5. So again, another correlation. I had a kid jump to 34 on the map. At his pro day on the slats, he jumped to 34. I had a kid, he jumped to 35.1. And at the pro day, the slats don't equal 0.1, but he still jumped to 35. So every one of my athletes, regardless of what the video looks like, when they go test somewhere else, outside of my gym environment, someone else is testing out of my control, they're getting the same thing on the slats as they have been getting on the mats at the gym. So enough of the BS about the jump mats. So I don't know. I've had Colton. I didn't use my arms that much, but now Colton's brother Kyle and Colton, Cody, the oldest one, jumped to 46. The middle child jumped 44, and Colton jumped to 44. Now the middle child used his arms, and Colton did not use his arms. It depends on if you don't really need your arms when you're jumping on the jump mat, just because you need a constant feedback system. Whatever you do, be consistent with it so that you get a consistent reading back. Don't do sometimes arm swing, don't do sometimes no arms. Always pick one and go with it. And then if you got to get ready to where you got to go somewhere, test on the slats, you're going to have to swing your arms with that. And maybe the non-arm swing correlates to the arm swing of the Vertec when you have to use your arms. I know about that research, Ricky, but I don't really incorporate any exercises for the arm swing. Arm swing is just arm swing. If you want to practice moving fast, and you just got to figure out what the hell to do with them in the air if you're using a jump mat. I do not know your rep set scheme for squats and bench, and I hope you release a book on training in the future. That gets me hammered as far as how I do my sets and reps for the squat and bench. I was trying to tell a guy the other day, he said, Jerry, can you just give me a program? There's no such thing as a program. It's like if you heard me talk about on the podcast, and I pulled several folders this past time, I started everybody off at 85%. And so if you start everybody for 85% and you give them 3 sets of 4 and maybe a set of 5, they're gonna go 4, 4, 4, and that last set's gonna be a 5. It could be a 4, or it could be a 3. So think of a tree, we've got a tree, we're all starting off at the same base. Once we get up to our first branch, if that person got a 3, he's going this direction. If that person got a 4, he's going this direction. If that person got a 5, he's going this direction. Then we're trying to wave and snake that person around from point A to point B. This one kid came, and his first day, he didn't even get 225 for 5. And 2 weeks later, he was doing 235 sets of 5. So we went already up 10 pounds, 5% increase within about a 2-week period of time, just by taking him down his road. And that's the thing about this training software. Like if I do have like training software, or just give everybody, hey, this is the sets and reps I want you to do over a 5 weeks period of time, you're going to be screwed if you're at 3. You know what I'm saying? Because then that load may be too heavy for you. And I could talk about a kid the other day. He came in, he benched 285 for max, but he also did 225 14 times. Holy crap, he's doing a very close percentage to his max for that number of reps. So I knew I had to pause bench him all the time to make that set rep scheme work for him, based off of him being able to rep 225 so many times, being his bench max was 285. Now we're at 315 with the bench max, but he had to pause bench so he didn't use momentum, so that the scheme would work for him. This person over here, if you got a 3, we got to back down. If this person got a 5, we can roll a little bit quicker. This person got a 4, we're going to be flat line. So I don't know how to do that. I thought about doing online training so people can kind of do and go about that, but not yet. In the meantime, I'm using another periodization, and I train 99 range, good. Improve my absolute strength even more. As far as last 6 weeks, I've been training the strength speed range. Yep, I'm following triphasic model. I have the book. Don't know it. Not even read it. I may have opened it just to smell the pages, but that's about it. I'm squatting and jumping 3 times per week and benching twice a week. Well, Ricky, most people have a hard time with the bench. The bench is more important that you bench 3 days. If you had to choose, squat 2, bench 3. But if you can do 3 and 3, it's even better. Is it a good idea to train heavier percentage, as my box squat max is currently 1.47 times the body weight and my max is 0.6%? Yikes. Okay. All right. My box squat max is only currently 1.47 times body weight. Oh boy, let me get this thing. Is it a good idea to train the heavy percent, as my box squat max is currently only 1.47 times body weight. My max at 0.6 meters is 0.05 times body weight. I don't know what percentage that is of the overall total. So don't worry about increasing that percentage. It's okay for slower speeds. Stay at slower speeds and slightly lighter ranges. Should I keep this heavier zone until a certain number, then switch back and switch to speed loads? I would stay away from the speed loads. I should have went over these questions a little bit more so I can have a little bit more roadmap, Ricky. Sorry about that, but I'll try to come back to your question and readdress that because I am running out of time. We hope to hear you back on YouTube and Spotify real soon. We need you. Ricky, London, England. Ricky, thanks for the question. I am sorry I did not get to answer a lot of this stuff. I wanted to get to this one equipment question real quick. Jared, 2 questions from Jason. What are your thoughts on the Mars bar as an alternate for the safety squat bar? I hate the idea. The Mars bar sits too low on your back. It's almost like low bar squatting versus high bar squatting. I think you can squat a lot of weight, but the squatting, I don't care. Squatting a lot of weight means nothing to me. If I can get you to squat 1.7 times your body weight or 1.75 times your body weight, and that weight is only 305 pounds, and you're on a 4.540, sick. If you do the Mars bar with the correlations of all this stuff, the numbers will not match up, and the point of squatting a little bit more weight, I believe, is what you could do with the Mars bar. I don't have one. I just don't like that idea. It's the bar sits too low. We need to have a higher center of gravity for our acceleration or athletics, just because we got to help strengthen the spinal erectors and protectors back. So Jason, I hope that answers that. Do you feel the West Side Ply swing is effective? No, I sold mine. If so, would you recommend programming after achieving a 40-inch vertical or somewhat sooner? After achieving a 40-inch vertical or somewhat sooner, don't understand. But after achieving the 40-inch vertical, I would incorporate more hurdle jumps, maybe a little bit more depth jumps. I would still touch on dumbbell jumps here and there just so you don't lose the sharpness, but over time you won't really lose that much. And as far as these safety squat bars, I got my safety squat bars made by a guy in California, the same ones that they use at Westside Barbell. They are a little tougher to squat on than the ones that you can get, maybe this Mars bar. Anywhere else, I got Elite Fitnesses, I've got Yoke Bar, I've got different brands of different bars, and the ones I have are coming in correlating with my numbers a lot more and a lot better. Also, got a complaint, the Elite Fitness blue box squat pad that we use so much at the gym. I've had to order new ones because I've had to expand a little bit more at the gym. I call them 1, 2, and 3. So you got first generation, second generation, and third generation box squat pads. Is the first generation, which all of my numbers are calculated and correlated off of. That box is a little softer than, I just bought 2 boxes like a week and a half ago. It cost me 400 freaking bucks. And the boxes now are stiffer than the ones I had. And it's not because the ones I had are worn down. The ones I had originally are the ones that we like to best. The kids with these numbers are hitting, they'll go and find those pads and put it on top of the box. So all of our boxes are 12 inches plus the little blue foam pad is 6. The second generation of the box squat, it's a more of a squared off looking box. and it's a little softer than the first generation. So we went softer. Now with this third generation, it's a little bit stiffer. And so I had someone squatting with that, and we were trying to see how much it affected our numbers with that. So we're still working on giving a little bit more hardcore things, but being the box is stiffer, they're not sinking as low, so they're able to stand up just a touch quicker. And we're off about, instead of getting a 0.6 with some of them, sometimes we're getting a 0.7, sometimes we're getting high 0.7s. So we're trying to figure out exactly how much it is off so that we can kind of figure out to hone in these numbers to get to the people out there that have this equipment. And remember, there's first generation, second generation, and third generation. The second generation is really square, a little soft, and this next generation, I'll try to get a little bit more of that done, but with the vents on the side of the box, this is more of a square. The other two generations is a little bit longer vent system on the side of the squat pad, but even as far as 3 or 4 years ago, if you ordered 3, 4, 5 years ago, you probably had the second generation. That first generation I ordered was probably back in 2011. And so, and they've still lasted. So they do a lot of squats. A lot of kids come through there, so they have done their job and they've lasted. Now they've been very good quality. I just don't like it how the consistency changes. Because if I'm trying to tell you how to go from point A to point B, and you got this pad and I got this pad, it's going to be a little bit off, and that's a variable that's changed to where we may not be exactly perfect where we want to be. So, Ricky, it's a good idea training. We stay at a pretty heavy speed, pretty slow. We can go like this kid today. He was squatting 500 for reps, and he had a set of 4, and this is how I told him to attack it. Let's get 2 5s, 1 4. Who gives a fuck what the last one? Who gives a shit? Whatever. I'm sorry, to get whatever the last rep is. And so it's kind of like he went 5 5 5 1 4 7, and then a 3 9. So we got to play games once the way gets heavier. These kids kind of not used to seeing those slower speeds. You got to try to tell them to play games with a 10 unit. You need to go, let's get 2 5s, get a 4, and who gives a crap what the last one is. And same thing, so if we were doing a set of 5, let's try to get 3 5s, a 4, and 3 5s and 2 4s, or 3 5s, a 4, and a 3. Who cares what the last one is? Just get this over with. And eventually, over time, we'll be able to turn those 5s. Now we're getting 1 6, 3 5s, and a 4. So over time, we'll do stuff like that, just manipulating, programming, basing it off the numbers and how their speed works. But ran a little long. It's going to parse myself later, but that's okay. I'm glad I got to get on here and do this. I need to do this more often, like I always say. Just got to prioritize time, and stuff I do pops up. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope I answered your questions. Ryan, Ricky, Jason, if I didn't answer yours completely, email me again, and like I said, we'll just go over it again. No harm. So follow me on Instagram, Explosive Mechanics, Twitter, Explosive ABC. That Twitter thing's not very big, but whatever. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.